The rise of nationalism in Europe. The French Revolution and the idea of the nation. The first clear expression of nationalism came with the French Revolution in 1789. France, as you would remember, was a full-fledged territorial state in 1789 under the rule of an absolute monarch. The political and constitutional changes that came in the wake of the French Revolution led to the transfer of sovereignty from the monarchy to a body of French citizens. From the very beginning, the French revolutionaries introduced various measures and practices that could create a sense of collective identity amongst the French people. The ideas of le patrie and the le citoyen emphasized the notion of a united community enjoying equal rights under a constitution. When the news of the events in France reached the different cities of Europe, students and other members of educated middle classes began to setting Jacobin clubs. These activities and campaigns prepared the way for the French armies which moved into the Holland, Belgium, Switzerland and much of Italy in the 1970s. With the outbreak of the Revolutionary Wars, the French armies began to carry the idea of nationalism abroad. Napoleon set about introducing many of the reforms that he had already introduced in France. The Civil Code of 1804, usually known as the Napoleon Code, did away with all privileges based on birth, established equality before law and secured the right property. The code was exported to the regions under French control, in the Dutch Republic, in Switzerland, in Italy and Germany. Napoleon simplified administrative divisions, abolished feudal system and freed peasants from serfdom and manorial dues. Transport and communication systems were improved. Peasants, artisans, workers and new businessmen enjoyed freedom. A common national currency would facilitate the movement and exchange of goods and capital from one region to another. The making of nationalism in Europe. The aristocracy and the new middle class. The members of this class were united by a common way of life that cut across regional divisions. They owned estates in the countryside and also town houses. They spoke French for purposes of diplomacy and in high society. This powerful aristocracy was, however, numerically a small group. The majority of the population was made up of the peasantry. To the west, the bulk of the land was farmed by tenants and small owners, while in Eastern and Central Europe the pattern of landholding was characterized by vast estates which were cultivated by serfs. Industrialization began in England in the second half of the 18th century. But in France and parts of the German states it occurred only during the 19th century. In its wake, new social groups came into being: a working class population, and middle classes made up of industrialists, businessmen, professionals. In Central and Eastern Europe these groups were smaller in number. Till late 19th century, it was among the educated, liberal middle classes that ideas of national unity following the abolition of aristocratic privileges gained popularity. What did liberalism stand for? The term liberalism derives from the Latin root liber, meaning free. For the new middle classes, liberalism stood for freedom for the individual and equality of all before the law. The right to vote and to get elected was granted exclusively to property-owning men. Men without property and all women were excluded from political rights. Only for a brief period under the Jacobins did all adult males enjoy suffrage. However, the Napoleonic Code went back to limited suffrage and reduced women to the status of a minor, subject to the authority of fathers and husbands. Throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, women and non-propertied men organized opposition movements demanding equal political rights. In 1834, a customs union, or Zollverein, was formed at the initiative of Prussia and joined by most of the German states. The union abolished tariff barriers and reduced the number of currencies from over 30 to 2. The creation of a network of railways further stimulated mobility, harnessing economic interests to national unification. A new conservatism after 1815. Following the defeat of Napoleon in 1815, European governments were driven by a spirit of conservatism. Conservatives believed that established traditional institutions of state and society, like the monarchy, the church, social hierarchies, property in the family, should be preserved. A modern army, an efficient bureaucracy, a dynamic economy, the abolition of feudalism, and serfdom could strengthen the autocratic monarchies of Europe. Conservative regimes set up in 1815 were autocratic. They did not tolerate criticism and dissent, and sought to curb activities that questioned the legitimacy of autocratic governments. Remaining lesson we'll discuss in next part. If you like the video, like, share, subscribe the video.